Hey Frag fam, Corbin here again from Northwest Scent. There's been this tag video going around, you may have seen it, between the fragrance YouTubers where they each cover 10 fragrances they'll never stop recommending. Some of them have done the 10 designers, 10 niche, 10 cheapies, etc. basically in categories like that. Well, I have not been tagged at all. I'm still a very small YouTube channel after all. However, this is my YouTube channel, so I can make any kind of video I want. And because of that, I'm going to take part in this 10 fragrances I'll never stop recommending challenge, you could say. Now, this is going to be my designer edition, so these are all designer fragrances. However, I'm putting a slight twist on it. I'm just going to do my 10 favorite designer fragrances. So these aren't ones that I'll necessarily recommend. Reason being is some of these are discontinued and are crazily expensive now, so I can't recommend those to you just because of those reasons. However, these are just going to be my 10 favorite designer fragrances currently. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, please stay tuned. But first, let's roll that intro. Alright, welcome back. So just as a full disclosure, these are currently my 10 favorite, and because of that, in the future, this list could be totally different. These are just the 10 current designer fragrances that I am enjoying the most. Now, also, I do have an honorable mention, and you will see why it's an honorable mention here in a second. So we're just going to kick right off at number 11, which is the honorable mention, and it is from Dior, and it's called Dior Homme Parfum. Now, I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing this fragrance in my videos, and that's why it's an honorable mention. In the last 4 videos I've made, including this video, I've featured this fragrance 3 times, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. I've given you guys my thoughts on this one plenty, but just throwing this in there because if I hadn't talked about this one a ton recently, this would definitely be in my top 10. This is one of my favorite designer fragrances, so yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore. This is just an honorable mention, number 11. Also, just as a full disclosure, this is not a rank list 10 to 1. These are just my 10 favorites. So the number 10 is not necessarily worse than the number 1 spot. I don't want to try and rank these like that because I love them all basically equally. So this is just a list of my top 10 designer fragrances that I'm enjoying the most currently. So moving right along to the number 10 spot, it's from Prada, and it's called Amber Pour Homme. Now, this fragrance is nothing new. It came out in 2006, I believe, so 15 years old. And this is a classic Prada fragrance. It has notes of cardamom, neroli, citruses, and then musk. Honestly, among a ton of other notes. Those are just some of the main ones, but there's like 20 notes in this fragrance. And this is classic soapy Prada. This honestly smells like if you're in a hotel that charges, you know, $500, $1,000, $1,500 a night, just crazy expensive hotel. This is like the soap they would give you. Now, so obviously it's very clean, it's a little spicy. This is kind of a dressed up scent. I guess you could wear this a little bit dressed down too. I wouldn't say like gym clothes or anything that casual, but this is just a nice, clean, soapy fragrance. It's a little bit spicy, tad floral, a little bit green, but this honestly just smells like the highest quality soap you can imagine. It's not crazy, like out of this world unique or anything like that. It just smells clean and sophisticated, and that's why I like it. If you just need to feel confident and, you know, kind of fresh out of the shower, just really, really clean, this fragrance does that for you, and it does it really well. And it's super affordable too. You can find this on discounters for like $50, maybe $60 max. So there's not a lot I can say about this fragrance that's bad. Just a very well-rounded, clean fragrance. So number 10 spot again was Prada Amber Pour Homme. The fragrance at the number 9 spot I featured in my first video on this channel, which was a review. This is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. I've had this since 2014, and it was actually my signature scent for about 4 or 5 years. There would be weeks where I would wear this, you know, 5 days out of the week. I wore it to work. It got me a lot of compliments. It's super underrated. I don't see a lot of people talk about this at all. It's from Comme des Garçons, and it's called Black. So yeah, there's nothing really that I can say about this that I haven't already said before. It has notes of licorice, incense, black pepper, and cedar, among some other notes. It starts off really, really smoky and a little bit sweet from that licorice. And then as it dries down, it just becomes greener and greener and greener. And then by the time you get into the dry down, it just smells like a fresh cut cedar tree or like a pine tree, just really green. It smells like you're out in the woods next to a campfire. This thing is amazing. It's super unique. There's nothing else out there that smells like this, and it's super underrated. So you guys should definitely check this one out if you haven't. You can get samples from Lucky Scent for just a few dollars, and I just think it's an amazing fragrance. So the number 9 spot was Comme des Garçons Black. The fragrance at the number 8 spot is actually the cheapest fragrance on this list. You can find it for under $35 at most places, most of the discounters. You see this at TJ Maxx's and Ross's pretty frequently, any of those bargain bin fragrance stores. And I just love this fragrance right now. This has been my go-to lately if I go to the gym, or if I just want to just smell fresh and clean while I'm lounging around the house. And I don't feel guilty spraying this one because it is fairly cheap. It's from Azzaro, and it's called Chrome Aqua. So this stuff, it has notes of grapefruit, green apple, basil, and cypress, as well as some C notes. And then there's a few other notes in there as well. But this thing, for how cheap and fresh it is, it's not transparent at all. And what I mean by that is this actually has some depth to it. It's very aquatic, but it's also a little bit spicy and herbal, a little bit green too. This thing lasts a good amount of time as well. And I just love the smell of this thing so much. You can see the dent I put in there, and I got this bottle new. And I've only had it for probably about 3 months. And with a collection as big as mine is, that says something about a fragrance. This stuff is awesome. And I think because of that depth that it has and the lasting power it has, you can wear this thing in the winter too. It kind of gives off this icy, refreshing feeling. But this is perfect for the summer, don't get me wrong at all. This is an awesome fragrance. I would definitely recommend you guys check this one out. Honestly, you could probably blind buy this. I think it's that safe, and it is so cheap that you don't have to feel guilty blind buying something like this. So if you guys trust my recommendation, I think you guys will enjoy this one a lot. So again, at the number 8 spot, it was called Azzaro Chrome Aqua. The fragrance at the number 7 spot is perfect for the time of year we're in right now. This has one of the best openings on a fragrance that I've ever smelled. It's from Mugler, and it's called Pure Havane. And I know you guys have smelled this fragrance or at least heard of it before. This is a serious hype monster in the fragrance community. It has notes of tobacco, honey, cacao, and patchouli, among some other notes. And this thing is borderline edible. Not quite as much as pure tonka or pure malt from this line, but it's really, really close. If you've smelled Xerjoff Naxos, they smell really, really similar, especially in the opening. They kind of do go in different directions once the dry downs start happening, but I'm pretty sure Xerjoff cloned this fragrance to make Naxos, because this one did come first. Both are great fragrances though, and I own both and love both. They're just good for slightly different situations, just because Naxos does have some citruses in it, I think lemon, which just makes it a little bit fresher, and they definitely do smell different in the dry down. This one kind of goes into the normal Amen line DNA dry down, where it's just patchouli dominant, so it kind of gives off this chocolatey smell, but it's still an amazing fragrance. It's still pretty affordable right now. However, that could change maybe going forward. And the reason I say that is I heard but did not confirm that this one has been discontinued. I reached out to Mugler, they have not replied to me yet. But if you go to their website, this fragrance is out of stock, and it's actually been out of stock for a few weeks. They could be getting more in it, and it just could be because they're trying to re-up on it. You know, they need to get more product produced before they can resell it. But I did hear this one's getting discontinued, so that's kind of coincidental with how the website is out of stock. So again, at the number 7 spot, it's from Mugler, and it's called Pure Havane. The fragrance at the number 6 spot is my second most favorite fragrance in its line. My most favorite is the fragrance I featured in the honorable mentions section. It's from Dior, and it's called Homme Eau for Men. And man, this is a close second. If Dior Homme Parfum is 1A, this is 1B. This stuff is absolutely amazing. I know a lot of people like Dior Homme Intense, that's their favorite. I think this one's better than the Intense. I think it's really close to the Parfum. This stuff is so classy, yet it's so fresh and easy to wear too. Whereas Dior Homme Parfum, like I've said before, you have to be dressed up and in the right situations for it. This stuff you can wear casually. You can definitely wear this formally. I would say this is probably the most versatile Dior Homme fragrance. And what's criminal about this is that this has been discontinued, and I can't imagine why. I love this stuff so much. I bought a backup bottle as soon as I heard it was discontinued. This is just one of my favorite fragrances just to pick up and smell. I do that from time to time. I'll just do test sprays here and there just so I can get that opening again. I think this stuff is so calming, so sophisticated, and so easy to wear. Now, this stuff does smell similar to Prada L'Homme. Not the same by any means, but I think that is a good fragrance alternative to this, especially now that it's been discontinued and this thing's selling well above triple digits now. I see bottles of this going for $120, $130, $140, when even 6 months ago you could get this for like $70. So it's basically doubled at this point. It's really unfortunate, but I am happy I have my backup bottle. I can't recommend this stuff enough. If you guys want something that smells similar to this, like I said, check out Prada L'Homme. They're, I would say, probably 80% similar. I definitely prefer this one, but that is a good alternative to this fragrance. So again, at the number 6 spot was Dior Homme Eau for Men. The fragrance at the number 5 spot I featured in my video where I talked about the 9 winter fragrances I was most looking forward to wearing. I've only been able to wear this one once since I bought it at the very end of winter last year. It's perfect for this time of year, and I think it's an amazing fragrance, which is why it's in this video. It's from Issey Miyake, and it's called Nuit d'Issey, Pulse of the Night. Man, those caps are snug on these. So it has notes of tonka bean, amber, patchouli, and leather, among some other notes. And this stuff, as I described before, it just kind of smells like a bad boy in a leather jacket. I don't know. I'm not saying you're a bad boy if you wear it or anything like that, but that's just like what I envision when I smell this. It's honestly amazing though. The Nuit d'Issey line is pretty average in my opinion. There's only a couple of standouts. This is one of them, but this is an extreme standout. This stuff is fantastic. Like I said, it's perfect for this time of year. It's fairly hard to find. It seems like every time it pops up on discounters, it gets snatched up immediately. If you see somebody put this one up for sale on the Facebook fragrance groups, it gets bought out before they even posted the sale, if you know what I mean. Like, this stuff just disappears as soon as it pops up, which is really unfortunate. I think it's an amazing fragrance. If you guys can find this one out there in the wild, definitely worth checking out. It's perfect for this time of year. It's perfect for dressed up scenarios. This is just a really well-rounded, playful winter scent. So again, at the number 5 spot was Nuit d'Issey, Pulse of the Night. The fragrance at the number 4 spot is probably one of the most versatile fragrances out there. It's certainly one of the most versatile fragrances I own. I can't think of a situation where you can't wear this fragrance. It's called Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. And this is another fragrance where I'm sure 99% of you have heard of it or own it. You know, this is super popular in the fragrance community, and for good reason. Like I said, this thing is so versatile. It has notes of mandarin orange, mint, tonka bean, and sandalwood, among some other notes. This thing, it's woody, it's fresh, it's creamy, it's a little bit spicy. There's really nothing that this fragrance can't do. You could wear this to the gym. You just have to control your sprays because it is fairly strong. You could wear this just kicking around the house. You could even wear this thing super dressed up, even black tie in my opinion. Like I said, this thing is just so versatile and it smells so amazing. Women love this fragrance. I did a video about a week or two ago where I had my girlfriend and some of her friends just smell random fragrances and give their reactions. And this thing was like the second most liked fragrance between them. I think they gave it well above an 8 out of 10. They absolutely love this fragrance, and I've never encountered anybody that dislikes the smell of this. It's so easy to wear, so sophisticated, so classy, yet so simple at the same time. I don't know. This stuff, it's a perfect fragrance, and it's something I'll always want to have in my collection, which is why I have a backup bottle, because I never want to run out of this stuff. So again, at the number 4 spot, it was Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. The fragrance at the number 3 spot takes a beloved date night DNA and just freshens it up. This is honestly better to me than the original, which is why I'm featuring it in this video over the original. It's from Yves Saint Laurent, and it's called La Nuit de l'Homme Frozen Cologne. Yeah, this stuff is amazing. The opening on this just blows me away. I absolutely prefer this to the original La Nuit de l'Homme. Basically, if you just take the notes from the original La Nuit de l'Homme, you add citruses in the opening and you remove the lavender, you're basically left with this fragrance. It smells really, really similar, except for at the top, it's just a lot fresher. It's a little bit less aromatic because it's missing that lavender. But I just think this is a far superior fragrance. Interestingly enough, this is an eau de cologne, but I get pretty good performance out of it, about 7 hours, which is even better than I get with the current formulation of La Nuit de l'Homme. So the performance is there, it's just fresher, it smells better to me. This is the other discontinued fragrance in this video. I don't know when it got discontinued, I think it was a few years ago, but I'm really sad they did because this stuff smells amazing. Unfortunately, people are taking advantage of that, and bottles sell for like $160, probably even more. And that's why I can't recommend this fragrance. But just based on the scent of this and my preferences, I definitely prefer this to the original. You can wear this in any situation that you can wear the original, but you can also wear this in more situations. You can definitely pull this off in summer because of that freshness and those citruses at the top, but you can still wear it in the winter because it does have that staying power and it still has that spiciness from the original. So I think this is the more versatile and frankly better version of La Nuit L'Homme, and that's why I prefer it to the original. So again, at the number 3 spot, it was Yves Saint Laurent's La Nuit L'Homme Frozen Cologne. So Armani Code, just the original. It revolutionized men's fragrance back in 2004 when it added tonka bean as a very prominent note, and we can thank this whole tonka bean craze we have going on nowadays because of Armani Code. Well, fast forward to 2019, a year and a half ago. Add some mandarin orange and apple to the top rather than just citruses, then some woody notes and suede to the base, and you get the more modern and refined version of that fragrance. And the number 2 spot, it's Armani Code Absolute. And this is one of the best openings on a fragrance I've smelled. Just like Amen Pure Havane, this stuff just blows me away right off the top. It gives me this kind of root beer float kind of vibe. It has vanilla in it, which kind of adds like a creamy sweetness to it, just like vanilla ice cream. And then you get that root beer smell. This thing is spicy, it's sweet, it's very powerful. This thing lasts a long time. It's really similar to Profumo, but just a little bit less sweet and a little more grown up. I think this is another A+ fragrance. If you guys haven't tried this one, I would definitely recommend going to Ulta or Sephora because this is one of those fragrances that you can find at just about any fragrance counter. So again, definitely recommend the number 2 spot, Armani Code Absolute. The fragrance at the number 1 spot takes a DNA from 1966, makes it sweeter, makes it more seductive, makes it more modern, and amps up the performance. It's from Dior, and it's called Eau Sauvage Parfum. Yeah, I'm sorry, I featured 3 Diors in this list if you include the honorable mention, but honestly, thinking about it, I love the House of Dior a ton. They put out so many high quality fragrances. This one is right there with all the other ones I've mentioned. I absolutely love this fragrance. It has notes of bergamot, lavender, vetiver, and elemi. So this one isn't so much an aromatic fougere, it's an aromatic citrus fragrance. So it's a little bit just fresher at the top, but it also has a ton of depth too. It gives me a little bit of a black licorice kind of smell, but it's a little bit green and herbal as well. Like I said, it's a little bit fresh. This stuff smells absolutely amazing. This is a dressed up fragrance, just as much so as Dior Homme Parfum. This is not a casual kicking it around the house kind of fragrance. You need to be in the right situations and scenarios. And this thing is so potent. I mean, you can just look at the juice. It just looks like you have pure oil just floating around in here. And the performance matches that. I get 12+ hours with this, just like Dior Homme Parfum. But this stuff, it just smells so amazing to me. If you don't like grown up kind of aromatic, chypres or aromatic fougères, those kind of styles of fragrance, like stuff you would see from like the, the 80s, 90s maybe, even back to the 70s and 60s, you might not necessarily like this fragrance. But aromatic fougères, chypres, those are some of my favorite fragrance styles. And so because of that, I absolutely love this one. This is an A++ fragrance. This is another fragrance where if I was given the choice to change things around, maybe amp some things up, adjust the DNA, I would not do it. I think this fragrance is perfect the way it is. And I love pulling this one out. I don't do it much because you have to be in the right scenario, like I said, to wear this. But when I do get to pull this one out, I enjoy every second of it. So again, at the number 1 spot, it was Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum. Well, there you guys go. If for some reason I was told I had to get rid of everything in my collection except for 10 designer fragrances, these would be the ones I would be keeping, at least as of right now. I'm really curious about what fragrances you guys enjoy the most. So if down in the comments, if you guys want to write some of your favorite designers, stuff that you're really enjoying right now, I'd be really curious to read about that. And while you're down there, let me know if you want to see a niche version of this list. I could definitely match this list with my top 10 niche fragrances currently. So again, just write that down there if you want to see that. But with all that out of the way, if you guys enjoyed the video, like I said, write those comments And while you're down there, maybe hit the like button just to show your support and let me know you enjoyed this video. And then if you guys wanted to subscribe and hit the bell notification, that would mean a ton to me as well. That way you guys stay up to date on new videos whenever they get released going forward. So that's all I really have for you guys today. I hope you guys have a good one. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.